One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm standing at the crossroads. I'm feeling like a lost soul. Don't know where I wanna go, but all I know is I wanna be free. They're telling me to let it be, but that just ain't in me, no. Jealousy and envy, but all I see is I wanna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Don't let it get the most of me. Eventually, I'm gonna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be free. Let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I told them take their aim off me. Stop trying to get a name off me. If they would just let me be, I'm gonna be free. I told them take some chains off me and throw away the locks and keys. If they would just let me be, eventually I'm gonna be free.
They're back.
What up, though? What up, though?
What up, though?
Man, this is man, these 7 days keep going by quick, man. It seems like
I swear, like a snap. It's very weird.
Man, it's going by way too quick. But like I said, we back again 7 days later for another episode of The Dominant Effect. I'm Archbishop, got Mike Ball, and we got Aaron, nice man, Olinger. And once again, we got another story for you. But before we jump into this, like always, we're gonna find out what everybody done for the week. So we'll start with you, Aaron. How was your week, brother?
Oh, it was peaceful, man. I just had a restful weekend at home and just getting ready for pass out some candy to the children tomorrow. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. I done it when I was young, so it's my turn to give back to the community now.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. For me, I got back on my leg on Saturday, and it was a good and bad thing, I guess, because unfortunately I kind of hurt myself during the weekend, from just walking on it, nothing in particular. Other than that, when you haven't walked on your leg in forever like this, your limb gets bigger, kind of swell. And so I forced myself to walk on it because I was healed back up again. And because I forced myself, it kind of messed up my leg a little bit. So I have to wait like another like week and a half for that to heal, which is no big deal. It's not the end of the world compared to like 90 days that I had to wait last time. Yeah.
Right.
But
Yeah,
hey, I kept active and still went out. I went out today, had a haircut and had a great dinner and stuff like that. Yeah, man. Doing good stuff. What about you?
Well, I've been moving around like always, man.
Mhm.
You know, the whole work thing, still working on that other movie, Standing on Business. Um, and actually I just got a message where they got some scenes this weekend. So I'm gonna be out this weekend on that. But
Mm.
I ended up doing a thing Saturday. I had went to meet this producer on Saturday, and they were filming a new show that they're about to put on Netflix. So I went there to talk to him actually, and a couple people didn't show like they were supposed to. You know, they do the whole casting thing for the show or whatever, and I ended up getting thrown into it. So I end up doing this show. It's called Ship or Sink. It's a new
I
show.
was going to tell you, look, all of a sudden you're just going to get offers just thrown at you. Here it is. How does it feel to be a movie star now? You know
No,
what I
I'm
mean?
not. I'm
Oh
not.
yeah. Must be nice. Must be nice.
Let me get some of that movie star paper, and then
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
talk
Once
about
we
that.
get paid movie star wage, then we can
Right,
talk,
right. Yeah,
I
then we
get
can have
you.
that conversation. But yeah, it was crazy. It's one of them shows where you ever seen that show? They do it on YouTube where they have the women out, and then like a guy come out and they decide whether they like him or not, and they like pop the balloon
Yeah.
type
Oh my
deal.
God, I've covered it.
Okay, so they have one. This show here is like an upscale version of that.
Oh shit. Are you dating in that?
No, 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 no. I ain't dating shit. There's so it's like an upscale version of it, and where they had 8 guys there, and they had, I think it was like 10, 12 ladies that was there. And the guys were basically the judges, you know what I mean? So they
Right.
send out one at a time or whatever. If you liked them, then you stayed up there and answered the question. If not, then you hit the buzzer and fall back. And then they come to you and ask you why you didn't like them. You know what I mean? So it was like I said, I kind of got thrown into it. You know
Hell
what I
yeah.
mean? So
You got to take the
and
opportunity.
right.
Absolutely.
And being the fact that it was it was crazy. It was crazy.
He
You know
said
what I
it
mean?
was
To say the
crazy. It
least.
was
But
crazy
it was
shit.
fun though. It was fun. I had a real good time. Um, I'm not quite sure when it's going to actually come out, but I know they're doing episodes. That was the very first episode that they did.
So they doing this like on television, or are they doing this on YouTube, or because there's lots of really high end productions that go onto these platforms.
No, this one actually going to be on Netflix. It's going
Okay,
to
right
be
on.
yeah, it's going to be like a weekly thing. You know what I mean? Like a series basically, but as they go, you know what I mean, every week is going to be
Every
something
week,
different.
new episode. Yeah.
Right, right. But like I said, it was a good time. I mean, the producers and the directors and all of them, I mean, they were all super cool. You know what I mean, I had a real good time, even though I got thrown into something that I didn't know exactly what I was
Yep.
being thrown into. But it was cool though. It was
That's the
cool.
best part. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Get to experience it. That's cool.
right. And of course I get an IMDb credit for it. So
Yes, you
you know what I
do.
mean, so, yeah, yeah. So that's
Hmm.
even. I mean, just add that on to the other two ones,
Yep.
man.
Just
We
start throwing
cooking.
those into the resume right there.
Right, right. We cooking. So so we're gonna jump into this subject this week. So one thing that we don't talk about a lot on here is politics, and I'm not gonna get into the politics spectrum of it. We're gonna talk about everything else but that. Um, but as everyone knows, here within the next what 6 days, we have an election coming up, and this is probably the most influential election that we probably gonna see in our lifetime. It's a lot of stuff that's going on with this, and you have a former president that's running again. You have a VP that came in midstream because that our actual president decided he wasn't going to run, and there's a whole caper to that. Um, there's there's stuff that's going on everywhere,
Mhm.
and this next commander in chief is going to have his or her hands full.
A lot to deal with.
But we want to talk about the other part of it because throughout the months we've heard of a lot of people was talking about, if this one don't win, we're going to do this. If this person don't win, we're going to do that. So you're talking about a lot of insurrection, civil unrest, mutiny, if you will, if you don't get your way. But the thing about this is that they already know this. They already know that some people is gonna feel some kind of way, and some people are gonna, try to start some stuff, or whatever. And they've been putting stuff in place in case you do. So, for some of you that's watching, or who may watch later on between now and election day, you may want to sit down and pay attention to this because if you one of them ones who think like, okay, if this one don't win or this one don't win, I'm gonna show my ass, you may want to hold tight.
Yeah, you may not want to do that shit. Just
Yeah, you
hold
may
on.
wanna-
At least hear us out first. You know what I mean? We got allegedly, by the way, with the $10 super sticker, man. Thank you so much. I very much appreciate that.
So one of the things that I've seen that I can't quite put my brain to even believe in this, and we're already seeing it. Okay. In Oregon and in Washington, you got ballot boxes being tampered with, setting them on fire, burning ballots.
Yeah.
You had we had another situation here in Florida where a mail carrier was dumping mail in the woods that had ballots in it.
Oh shit! I didn't hear about that one.
Yeah, this one just happened.
Mm.
So it's a lot of bullshit going on already. You know what I mean? So it hasn't even got to the day yet. It's gonna get crazy. Now once election day actually happened, we're not gonna know. We're not gonna know who won then. You're not gonna know that day. You probably won't know until probably about 3 days later because you got a lot of these battleground states, and I guarantee you it'll be somewhere in the range of Georgia, Pennsylvania, maybe Michigan, because those are battleground states. That's gonna be the holdup. You know what I mean? And you're gonna see a whole lot of craziness going on during
unrest
during that time. And afterwards, whoever win, best of luck to whoever win. Like I said, I don't really, I'm gonna go out and vote in a couple days, but right now I'm kind of actually stuck. I really don't know which one to go with because my personal opinion, they both equally fucked up. And a lot of their policies are equally fucked up. You know what I mean? It's nothing that's actually benefiting me and you. I mean, it's benefiting everybody. I mean, it's benefiting everybody who's actually making bread, but the ones that are sitting here, working their ass off, it ain't benefiting us at all. But it's a lot of stuff that needs to be dealt with, like we was talking about last week, with the decline in price of the dollar and stuff like that. A lot of this stuff needs to be taken care of and needs to be taken care of immediately. You know what I mean? We don't have to wait for an election to happen for that to be fixed. That needs to be in the process like now. Which
I
is
agree.
Which is one of them hard questions that somebody should be asking, but they're not. But Aaron, I know me and you was talking earlier, and you was chopping at the bits about something. Now,
He's got
I
a lot to
know.
say on
Oh
this
man,
episode.
boy, he's chopping at the bits.
He's
But
ready.
the Department of Defense put out something here recently, and it's a DoD order 5240.01. Explain to everybody exactly what that initiative is.
Okay, I'm gonna read to you a paragraph that's a part of it, and it's a paragraph describing the use of lethal force in the event of civil insurrection or something major going on that the local authorities can't handle. Paragraph C states assistance in responding with assets with potential for lethality or any situation which is reasonably foreseeable that providing the requested assistance may involve the use of force that is likely to result in lethal force, including death or serious bodily injury. It also includes all support to civilian law enforcement officials in situations where a confrontation between civilian law enforcement and civilian individuals or groups is reasonably anticipated. I mean, that clearly states right there that they're prepared to go ballistic right off the rip. I mean, the government itself is preparing for post-election violence. My evidence of it is, number one, they're talking about not announcing the president until 4 days after the election is over with. Number two, a lot of members of Congress and things, senators are taking sick leave and vacation days this week and won't come back into Washington until after the election. Number three is the recent, what was it, 2024 black helicopters that was landing on the White House lawn, practicing an evacuation of the White House. Number four, you've got 2 times that an attack can occur. It can occur once the president is announced. It can also occur on inauguration day, which is January 20th. So if nothing happens right now, something can still happen around the 20th. And keep in mind that the recent strike that was just averted on the dock workers, they're going to revisit that on January 15th.
Correct.
So either they'll have that settled, or we could be back in the situation, because the bottom line is right now, November and December, they need that period for the department stores and other stores to make their money at Christmas time. I mean, if they take losses now, they may not, a lot of them wouldn't be able to operate come next year. They'd have to file Chapter 11s and shut down. So things could happen later in January if it doesn't happen now. I mean, people need to be prepared for the possibility of civil unrest, because once it starts to occur, it will escalate very quickly. Now, there was an announcement that was made for people not to participate in the demonstrations, which I did see that, and to be aware of your surroundings the week of the election. So, and also FEMA themselves is being told to expect, and it may not be related to the elections, they're being told to expect a mass casualty event, loss of the power grid, or the possibility of civil unrest. Law enforcement is being told to expect civil unrest and blackouts. Now, when you see the government preparing for something and you see the local authorities preparing for something, I think the people need to prepare. Now,
It's a good
there
sign
is,
to let
yeah,
us know.
there is what they call escalation of violence. Let's say violence starts to ensue. Now, I'm hoping it's just going to be another day. I don't want to see nothing happen. Just be another day. But let's look at the worst case scenario. Let's say that president is announced, group of people don't like it. They start to have civil unrest in different cities across the United States. The local authorities will have to handle that. The escalation of violence will be in this order. The police will start off using pepper spray batons and rubber bullets to try to disperse crowds and try to get people to stop doing what they're doing. But at this level, there is still the possibility of negotiation or de-escalation. If they will not disperse, the police, law enforcement have the authority to escalate to other methods at that point to try to get people brought back into order. Now, you don't want to be called out past the curfew if it gets announced, and you always want to have your ID on you. This is a situation where you don't want to be caught without ID. Now, just like in baseball, where you got a person up at bat, which would be your local police, you'll have people that will be on deck waiting to come in immediately, and they're watching the situation with great interest. And that's going to be DHS, Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, and U.S. Marshals. They're next to bat. They will immediately come in. They don't have much patience for civil unrest. And when they get involved, that's going to be game changing right there. There will be definitely a higher escalation. And the DHS and the FBI will have the authority to detain you under the Patriot Act if they so choose to. And they're going to use more aggressive tactics. After that, you get into the military getting involved. First, it'll be National Guard. And they will only come in if it's determined by two things. One, the police can't handle the situation, or the government feels there's a security risk. And that's when they will bring in the National Guard. Now, the Guard will suspend your rights of habeas corpus. You ain't going to get a phone call if they detain you. And things can get very violent at that point. They're coming in with military tools, and their job is to be the iron fist. They're to put the situation down. Now, in the event that the National Guard can't handle it, the government can announce what they call, let's see, it'll be the Posse Comitatus Act, which that will be in effect right away when the police get involved. Way that's set up, that's a federal law that limits the powers of the federal government in use of federal troops to enforce domestic policy. Now, if civil unrest is high, the president himself can invoke what he calls the Insurrection Act. That's the trigger to the Posse Comitatus Act. That's the way around. It will allow active duty military to be used to restore order. Now, there's two ways that they could call that, the president call that in. If he feels an insurrection is happening, or if he feels that there's a current threat to national security with what's going on with the riots and protests. And that's when U.S. military can operate on U.S. soil. And believe me, once the National Guard hits the street, you don't want to be out there in those protests. You want to be hunkering down somewhere and staying out of that fray. Because once they come in, I just read to you that the paragraph that authorizes them to use lethal force in the event that police call them in to give them assistance. So you don't want to be out there in that. And under that DOD directive, the defense intelligence personnel can provide intelligence, analysis, training, equipment, and even weapons to civilian authorities. But if civil authorities were outnumbered and asked for assistance, then you're talking military involvement at that point. And what's tripping me out is once that is invoked, the 5240.01, they're going to gather data and conduct surveillance on U.S. citizens, which are considered a threat. And they will share that information with local authorities to pick you up and detain you. They will put you in mobile detainment camps or whatever. And like I said, you're not going to get no
let me ask you this.
Let me ask you
this right quick, Aaron. Since you just said that, let me ask you this. So with the DOD 5240.01, you said that they can use that to go in and pull information on citizens and be able to basically use it against them or whatever. But isn't that what they're already doing? They've already been doing
they're doing that because they're catching a lot of people here recently just on the phones. I'm like, how are they knowing to go after them? I mean, they caught that one guy that was going to attack a polling place or something, and he was going to come in shooting guns at people out there trying to vote. I'm
What?
like, how would they even know that? You know,
Well, let
that's
me answer
amazing.
that one for you. Let me answer that one for
Okay.
you. You say you wanted to know why. Now, Mike should also know the answer to this too, because we did a show about it. Back probably about 5, maybe 6 months ago, when they went through and signed that TikTok bill
Mm-hmm.
that we were on here telling people to call your senators and tell them you didn't want them to vote for this bill. Now, that bill, only 15 pages of that bill was even dealing with TikTok. The other 50 pages was dealing with them being able to go into everything that you possess that had audio, video, Bluetooth capability, all the way down to your from your ring bell outside
Yep.
to
Your
your
cameras,
TVs, to
TVs,
your cameras,
phones,
everything that you had, they could go
Alexas.
into it and listen to it whenever they wanted to at their own free will. They did not need a court order to do it. They could listen to it whenever they wanted. And if they heard anything that you said that you was not supposed to say, they can
Mm-hmm.
show up at your house and arrest you for it. That's how they getting picked up, because these people are on the phone and they holding conversations, or they having conversations in their house. Because once they pick up, now this has been going on since the Patriot Act, is that if you're on a phone and you having a conversation, me and you having a conversation, and I'll say something to you and I use a couple of words in conjunction with each other, it automatically records that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go back and listen to it to see what it is that you're talking about. Now it's more like you don't have to do anything.
What was the name of that
They can
act
just pop
again?
in.
Do you remember what the name of that act is? I'm
It,
trying to remember myself.
it started out, I think it's the restrict. It
Yes,
started
the
out as being
Restrict Act.
the Restrict
Boom.
Act.
Yep, that's what it's called. And it was all
Um,
buried with TikTok. TikTok
right.
was the face of it. TikTok really wasn't really that much involved. It really was about that whole Restrict Act.
Right. And the
Mhm.
reason why they were doing that was because a lot of the different pieces of the Patriot Act ended back in 2020 and 2021. And they had this here was like the Patriot Act 2.0. They were able to add more stuff to it. You know what I mean? And there was a long list for you ones that didn't know. If you go back and watch the one of these older shows that we're on here talking about, and we're talking about just that. You can't miss it.
TikTok
And
ban.
there's an
Yep.
actual list of everything that they can go on and be able to use without a court order, without just cause, nothing. They can just go on and do it. Just like right now, they could be sitting here going through everything that we have in here that has audio and video capability and listen to everything that we're talking about.
Well, yeah, it passed. So
Right. You know what I mean? So that's how they getting people, is because you have like the average person, would they know that that's what they did? No, they had no clue that that's what they did. You know what I mean? So that's how people getting caught, because they still doing the status quo thing, which you got to remember, this day and age, somebody's always watching. There's a camera everywhere. There is no quote privacy
think
anymore.
about just CCTVs alone.
Yeah, there is no privacy no more.
Everywhere on the street.
You know what I mean? So unless you got some real cutting edge way of communicating without them picking up on what you're doing, you know what I mean? You don't
But
got to
good
worry about
luck.
nobody snitching on you. They're watching you.
Yeah, they you don't need anybody to snitch on you anymore. Your technology does it for you. And we
Right.
allowed the government to do it.
Right. They've been doing it.
Mhm.
Like I said, that's when they did the whole Patriot Act. That's where the whole thing dealing with Edward Snowden and Julian Assange and all them. That's how all them got involved, ended up getting locked up, and Snowden took off to Russia and all that, because they was telling what they had done, how they were able to pull everybody's text messages from their phones and everything and keeping them keep them at a facility, and they can go back and use what you wrote down at any given time and use it against you.
Mm-hmm.
They've been doing that. You know what I mean? But like I said, a lot of people don't know that because a lot of people don't, number one, don't care. Number two, they don't watch programs to get information.
True.
You know, so that's where a lot of them get beat down at. Now, you said earlier, you said that they were doing a evacuation training at the White House. Now, I do think that no matter what happens, just like any situation, no matter what happens, somebody's not going to like what's going on. Okay. Every election that we've been through, somebody has not liked who came out of it, who won, whatever, for some odd reason. But it has never been to the point that we're talking about now, where people are actually talking about bloodshed if said candidate doesn't win, which is crazy because we ain't never had that before. You know what I mean? Now, the question that I'm gonna ask you two is why? Why do people care that much about it to the point that they would go out and hurt somebody else because of a vote that didn't go their way? That's the question. Both of either one of you can answer. Yeah, either
Okay.
one.
Doesn't matter.
I'll go first. Personally, I blame the media because the media has been fanning the flames of hate here recently. They've been getting a lot of negative ads on TV about each politician, which none of those hate things got anything to do with why they're running. I mean, what are they going to solve once they get in there? That's what we need to know. But I mean, even the media is fanning possibility of civil war. Nobody would even be thinking about civil war if it wasn't for them talking that stuff. I mean, look at the CVS there, right there in Washington, close to the Capitol. Last weekend, they boarded up all their windows with plywood because they're expecting violence. And then, from what I understand, the local Lowe's and Home Depot has got pallets of plywood ordered by some of the other local stores there that this coming weekend is going to be boarding up. I mean, people need to understand if you want to peacefully protest, that's great. But you also have to understand what is called a state of emergency. That gives broad powers to local law enforcement. That limits your movement. It shuts down transportation. It also invokes curfews. And if you violate, you're going to get hurt. They're going to hurt you, and then they're going to put you in jail somewhere, and they can hold you for a year or two before they ever release you if a state of emergency is declared. People need to understand that. I mean, once they declare state of emergency or the National Guard hits the streets, I'd get the hell out of there and go home. And that's if I was a peaceful protester. Otherwise, I'm not going to be out there. No matter who gets into office, I have to prepare for what economics is going to affect me. And that's where my head's going to be. I'm not thinking about committing violent acts against my fellow brothers or people out here in this country. My mind don't function in that direction. So I'll stop there for now.
I think I have to give this up to two things. Well, there's multiple layers to it, but mainstream media being number one, of course. And then number two, believe it or not, I believe is social media and the influencers that are on there. Okay, so hear me out on this. Since Trump came in about 2016, what really became famous and what was like a big thing to do on the internet was to clip farm. You know what I mean? Now, this is something that all of us content creators have kind of used in our background before, but it didn't get so popular until really, honestly, around 2019, 2020, something like that. People would say the most outrageous things online just to get that virality going. But even if I didn't believe what I just spoke, other people are going to believe it. Now, that's the whole thing. It doesn't have to actually come from you, like meaning like you believe this just because you said it that is true influence. People actually listen to these people, these streamers, these mega influencers, all this shit. A lot of the times people just want to get a little bit of virality going. They want to have a little bit of fame going on. You know, like maybe they've been out of the spotlight for a minute. Hey, I can say this. It'll get 10 million views and boom, I'm back on the charts or whatever. And usually that is stirred up by some craziness, right? So I believe that a lot has to do with social media and also with the mindsets of these influencers.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So with that being said, from both of you gave good answers, by the way. But with that being said, there's one thing about both. Whether it's the media talking to you, or you on YouTube listening to us, or anybody else that's out here putting out, podcasts and stuff like that. Because that's where that's where a lot of people get their information from now. Anyway, don't nobody watching.
True.
And you have some people who do these shows where they try to stay in the middle, try to stay bipartisan. You have some that as soon as you listen to it, where they're going with it on either side. Whether they going left or they going right. You can tell just by how they're talking where they going with it. But there's one thing dealing with this that kind of flips it all. Whether I'm hearing it on the news or I'm hearing it from an influencer or whatever, everybody knows the difference between right and wrong. Everybody knows that. Neither one of these people you've been to the cookout with.
That's true.
Conversation with you. Neither one of these people sit here and drink a beer with you and play cards. Neither one of them, quiet as kept, give a fuck about you personally. So why would you go out and cause a whole ruckus for what? For what? Because the only thing that's going to happen, you're going to go to jail.
Yep.
I mean, now let's think about the January 6th thing. People went to jail, right? People still going to court, going to jail.
Yep.
Did he get you out?
No, I actually know somebody I've been on a panel with that spent 3 years, just got out for January 6th.
Right.
He
That's
was
what I'm
there
saying.
and got arrested for 3 years.
Right. Did he come get you out? No.
No.
You pay
no,
for your
that didn't
lawyer?
happen.
No. Did you put money on your books while you're in jail? No. So I was saying that to say it doesn't matter who you leaning towards. Don't mess your life up with doing something stupid.
Facts.
Thinking that you helping this person over here because you're not. You know what I mean? Because what you're doing is only thing you're doing is just you lighten the switch to the powder keg that they think you're going to do, and they're already ready for you. They waiting for you to do it. You know what I mean? So if you think that you came up with the brightest idea that you're gonna jump up and do something and you're gonna get away with it, think again. You may get away with it that particular day, but they're gonna get you either way it go. You know what I mean? So I think the best thing that we can do, even dealing with this election, is to pray on it, hope the best, whoever it is to win, hope they get in there and do their fucking job. That's all you can ask for. You know what I mean? So there's no reason to be butthurt, sad, pissed off. For what? For what? Because it's gonna go how it's gonna go. You know what I mean? When you get up to go to work every morning, you don't get up to go to work because you're doing it for him or her. You get them going to work because you got something that you need to do for yourself. And that's what you need to think about here. Yourself. Don't worry about them. Think about yourself. And if you do that, you'll be here next week when we have this conversation and you ain't in jail on some stupid shit. So Like I said, don't matter what we tell you, don't matter what CNN, NBC, Fox, Redacted, or anybody that you watch, don't make a difference who you watch. I mean, don't be stupid, because you know the difference between right and wrong. So the next thing that I wanted to jump into was, we have this going on here. You got a lot of things. We got a lot of things going on around the world that we're involved in. Okay, we're in Israel. You got, between Israel and Iran and Hezbollah, and you got all that going on. We got soldiers over in Ukraine. Now, of course, our government saying that none of our actual soldiers are actually in Ukraine fighting. However, the other day they did find 2 people unalive, and one had a range attack. You only get a range attack if you were a ranger. So how did he end up there? But now you have North Korea, who sent 3,000 troops there, and a potential to send 10,000 total to Russia to help them fight in Ukraine. So I guess my question to you both, I got a little quick video I want to play about this.
Absolutely.
Kind of give you a little information about it, and then we're gonna jump into this on the second part of this.
Cool.
show.
In eastern Russia, marching to fight someone else's war. Russian cell phone video apparently shows North Korean troops deploying to Russia, receiving Russian equipment. The first wave of what Ukraine and South Korea say will be 12,000 North Korean troops. The U.S. says it's not clear how they will be used. But they're believed to be special forces known as the Storm Corps, and if they join the battle, they may suffer the consequences, says National Security Council spokesman John Kirby.
If they do deploy to fight against Ukraine, they're fair game. They're fair targets.
Already, North Korea has shipped Russia more than 1 million artillery shells and ballistic missiles that Russia uses to strike Ukrainian residential neighborhoods and injure and kill Ukrainian civilians. But North Korea's willingness to send soldiers who could die on Russia's behalf helps cement their alliance, says the Center for Strategic and International Studies' Victor Cha.
Sending troops is about the biggest symbol of an alliance commitment that one country can make to another. So it really shows that North Korea is all in with the Russians in terms of this war in Ukraine, this war in Europe.
In June, Russian President Vladimir Putin visited Pyongyang to sign a treaty with the North's leader Kim Jong-un that included a mutual defense pact. Today, the U.S.'s largest concern is that Russia will help accelerate North Korea's intercontinental ballistic missile or nuclear programs, or improve North Korea's submarines.
So historically, Russia has been reluctant to provide really high-end military technology to North Korea. But with this deployment of troops, Kim can exact a higher price for what he's doing for Russia. And this could take the form of ICBM technology, nuclear submarine technology, things that Kim has said he really needs to round out his modern nuclear weapons force that would pose a direct threat to the U.S. homeland.
The Reds continue their relentless advance over the rugged country.
It's been 70 years since North Korean soldiers fought in war. Their deployment to Russia will give them invaluable experience, says the Mansfield Foundation's Frank Januzzi.
Really, the North Korean Army lacks realistic combat experience. So deploying their special forces to Russia and potentially into Ukraine is going to give them invaluable experience in modern warfare, drones, interoperability, combined operations forces. This is going to be a real game changer for the North Korean military as they try to build a more capable force.
Today's announcement coincides with Kim Jong-un's first ever publicized visit to an ICBM base. In the past, Kim has threatened force if North Korea is threatened. But today, he's trying to create a new strategic axis, willing to use force as a fellow traveler with America's other global adversaries.
The June 2024 strategic partnership between North Korea and Russia, we're now seeing Kim Jong-un define that as part of a global struggle against U.S. and U.S. interests by sending combat forces to Russia. They really seem to be saying to the world, a threat to Russia is a threat to us.
Until then, Ukraine fears North Korean troops will join Russian forces to evict Ukraine from seized Russian territory within days. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Nick Schifrin.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what do you think?
Brutal to say the least. Yeah, when he's very right. When you have troops like that come in, there's no kind of better symbol or anything sign to let you know that there's obviously that's some strong allies right there.
Right. Well, they did that mutual defense pact not too long ago. To where they actually had this pact. The pact has actually been out for several years, but then it kind of like went to the wayside, and then now they just like rejuvenated it and put it back into.
Did they have to like sign it back in and like redo some stuff or whatever? I'm sure they did.
Yeah, they just added a few things to it. They took the old one that they had and just kind of added a few things to it, but you got a powerhouse going on right there. So you have Russia by itself. Then you got North Korea helping them in this way. You got China helping monetarily. You got Iran helping. You basically the BRICS nation is helping.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, let's just say that BRICS nation is helping.
Yep, that's basically where it all comes from, right?
Right. So when you start thinking about it, all these ones is helping right here are all in this group over here. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just got to think about shit and just call
Connect
it for what
dots.
it is.
Yeah.
Right. So of course it's going to be a pact because they're doing this together as well. Put two and two together. But so Aaron, I'm gonna ask you this. Mind you, North Korea has not fought in a war in over 70 years. And military-wise, they really don't have much training other than just the occasional blast here and there against South Korea at the line. But other than that, do you think this was a game-changing situation? Or do you think this is just with 10,000 troops, though, I'm saying, is this going to be something that's going to be like a game-changing event? Or do you think is this going to be something where everyone else say, well, okay, well, since you brought them in, then we're going to put somebody in. Do you think that
that's
opens
exactly
the door for that?
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. This is an escalation. It definitely opens the door. And it's not my principle to underestimate anybody. I'd rather overestimate your ability than underestimate you. North Korea's got nukes, and they have the ability to reach the United States now. And those two satellites they got up that comes over the United States, those are EMP satellites. We know it. They know that we know it. They can drop that right into low Earth atmosphere and detonate both of them and put us in the dark, half of Canada and half of Mexico. And will we blow them off the map? Sure, we will. But our people are going to be left here to suffer, and quite a few people are going to be defenseless with no communications. We'll be at each other's throat within 2 weeks, fighting over resources. So, and as far as NATO goes, that would give NATO the right to start sending in NATO troops. Any nation that wants to send troops over there right now, we're sneaking them in as PMCs, private military contractors. They're mercenaries. We're sending them in. And pretty soon we're going to have pilots over there flying those F-16s if North Korea is going to be sending troops in. And I just saw where this past weekend they announced they're going to send another 10,000. So if you're going to be sending in troops, what's going to stop France, Great Britain, or anybody else from sending in troops? South Korea already said they're going to start sending weapons to the North Koreans, to Zelensky with Ukraine to help Ukraine against the North. And the way Kim Jong-un acts, that he might use that as a provocation to attack the South.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I don't want to see the United States get into a multi-front war. If they can jump one at a time and we can put out that brush fire, great. But if one jumps and another one jumps,
Yeah,
I
good
don't
luck
think
with
our
that.
I don't think our economy is going to hold up. And then, man, we got to send a bunch of inexperienced National Guard troops to go fight overseas and be in unfamiliar territory. I don't want to put that on nobody. Right
You
now,
know,
if we can hold them and through mutual assured destruction, but right now I don't see that happening. China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran, they're all escalating right now. So they must all feel that they're ready for a war with us. And they must feel that we can't cover all the bases or they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. But I'll stop there for right now.
when I first heard about this, the first thing I thought was, I'm like, okay, here we go. Here we go. Now, and in my opinion, this is what I'm thinking. So, of course, everyone's talking about it. You got NATO talking about it. Everybody's, got their own little input about it. So it's like, okay, we know you're there, but you're not actually in Ukraine. You in Russia, so we ain't gonna do nothing at this. Soon as somebody takes a picture of a dead North Korean in Ukraine, you basically just open the floodgates for them to do whatever they want to do. And just like they said on the video, if they come in there, they up for grabs too. So basically, Putin is at a situation where, like, okay, you can use them. You got them here. They sent them over here. You got them here. You training them. You training their special forces or whatever to bring them in. Now, once they cross that line, it ain't no going back, right? Because just as soon as they realize that one of them is over into Ukraine, it's on Ukraine territory, then you basically open the floodgates for everybody else to send people. You know what I mean? Now, would that or would that not technically start a world war?
I
say
think right
we're
now,
already
yes.
in it.
Yeah.
You say what?
It's so volatile that he's saying that we're already in it.
No. I mean, now granted, we've been saying this for months.
Right.
I'm talking about to where you actually see it. If they bring them North Korean troops across the line into Ukraine, and the government NATO realizes that those troops are actually sitting in Ukraine. Like I said, at that point, it's like, okay, gloves is off.
Yeah, it would be a spark, 100%.
Right. Like, we gave them weapons, yes, but we're saying we ain't bringing our people over here. Now, you letting him bring his people over here, and you allowing him to bring them over here. So now, we're gonna send in. You got 10,000. We're gonna send in 10,000 from here, and 5,000 from here, and 15 from here, and we're gonna give them this, and we're gonna give them this, and everybody gonna start divvying in what they gonna throw into the bunch. France, Great Britain, Poland, all of them. They all gonna bunch in and see what all they gonna put into it. Which, if you would think about it, if all of them actually merged in and did that, that would become a world war.
Well, I'm going to say this. Right now, we're not allowed to give them Ukraine long-range weapons, long-range missiles that can reach deep into Russia. Russia already said that would be a provocation for World War III in the event that we gave them those type of weapons. Now, with North Korea sending troops over there, I say we have the right to give them long-range weapons now. So, I mean, if one escalates, we're going tit for tat. Even over there between Israel and Iran, we're going tit for tat. One does something, and somebody else does something, and we respond by moving more forces into the area. Somebody else moves more forces in or brings in more supplies. I mean, we're going tit for tat. Sooner or later, it's going to explode, and when it explodes, it's going to escalate fast.
No kidding. No kidding.
Exactly. So we sitting here now on a powder keg, not just in this country, but in several other countries that we are potentially involved in. And it's like anything can happen at any given time. You know what I mean? The question is like, which one gonna do it first?
Well, that's what I'm actively watching right now with, with what's going on with, Israel and, not only within themselves, but with Iran and all that Hezbollah and stuff. And just watching the death that is, just this morning, I reported on 60 people from Hezbollah that were killed, you know what I mean? And this is an ongoing, issue. And I'm just waiting for it to really crack off where someone else gets involved and then all of a sudden literally the floodgates are open. And it's going to be scary when the shit happens because right now it's like every domino is lined up. So when one falls, it's just going to domino affect the whole world. It's going to be insane to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just one big mass casualty. That's what it is. You know what I mean? Now I know the U.S. has been considered the world police for decades now. You know,
right?
It's just some stuff you just gotta. It's like you gotta choose your battles. You know, some stuff that you can jump into and deal with, and then some stuff you just back up and be like, you know what, I know I can get involved in this, but I'm not. I'm gonna stand clear of that one. You know, especially being the fact that we steady running up 35 trillion in debt, but we still sending people off all over the damn place.
Yep. And sending money overseas.
Right.
Like it's
Posting
nothing.
up all overseas.
Like as if we have like a surplus, like as if we didn't have any debt.
Right. I mean, 'cause that's how they spending it.
Yeah,
You know what
no
I mean?
kidding.
So, because you would think that, if you was going through the stuff that you're going through right now, you would bring it on back. You know what I mean? It's like, you ever heard that saying? It's like sometimes when somebody be in your business and what do you tell them? Worry about yourself.
Right.
Maybe that's what you need. That's what we need to start doing. And government side, worry about yourself. Worry about what you already got here and stop worrying about everybody else. See, that's your problem. Like I heard they just jumped into Georgia, telling them what they can do and can't do. You know what I mean? Who are you to tell the other country what they can do and can't do, man?
No
Mind
kidding.
your own business. Right. Mind your business. You know what I mean? Like, don't you got enough shit to deal with right now?
It's already hard enough with just America. I promise you. It's already complicated enough. We're already as divisive as possible. It's like, man, why would you want to like care for other people at this point? Care about your own people. Damn.
Right. See, now mind you, you just said something that, now think about what I'm getting ready to tell you. What you just said right there. You need to care about your people. Now, we've seen for months now from these hurricanes, natural disasters that have been going on, it's flooding and everything else, that, these people are sitting here thinking that the government is going to jump in and come in and save the day. And you sitting here right now with the realization that that's not going to happen. We've been talking about this for months, that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? The only person that you have to make sure that you're going to be okay is you.
Is your damn self.
And you need to start doing that.
Yep.
So you already see that that's not the case. You see that they giving more to other countries than than you even thought about giving. Matter of fact, they talking more and taking more out of your pocket, you know, as opposed to, you know, helping you in any kind of way, you know. But these are the same people that you have that they want to go out and cause a ruckus and an insurrection and want to fight and shoot and loot and every damn thing else for the same people that ain't helping you in the first place. That make any sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you're willing to like go up in arms about something that was never going to happen in the first place. They were
Right.
never going to care about you. They were never going to give you that extra bread that is being sent overseas. That was never going to be seen by the American people anyways.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I understand what you're getting at. Yeah. The lack of care there, they don't care about us. We're just votes. That's it. We're a number.
But that's the thing though. They want you to care.
Yes. Of course they want me to
they
care.
want you to care. And that's the reason why people want to jump up and pull the guns and pack up and you know what I mean and
So
run
to
around
cause
and do
that
all this other shit.
division.
Right, because that's their way of saying that they care. But it's clearly been shown to you that caring is not being reciprocated.
Mm.
So
Yep,
the
I
only one that's showing care is you. You know what I mean? So the quicker you realize that, the better off you be.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That literally goes like what he's speaking to right there is everyone. You know what I mean? Is when one side or the other wins, because obviously it's inevitable, one's going to win. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of chaos, but don't sign yourself up to go to prison. Don't sign yourself up to get fucked up. You know what I mean? Because they're just waiting for the reason. They're just waiting for you to fuck up to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they're going to give you some benefit of the doubt. Oh, you gave a shit about this side? Oh, sure. No, they don't care, dude. You're gone.
No.
You know, and
No,
so don't ruin your fucking life over this when they never even gave a shit about you.
Right. You know, just go out, vote, and hope that, you know, they get enough votes to win. You know what I mean? But you know that's kind of tricky though.
It is, of
Kind
course.
of tricky because it has been done where you can win the popular vote and still not win the election.
Correct.
It's been proven twice already. So, you know, being the fact that you're not going to know what the numbers are at the end of the day, you're not going to know for probably 2, 3, 4 days later. You know what I mean? That's when the whole protest and stuff is going to start. Because as soon as they go through that part, you know what I mean? Then they got to do recounts, and then they're going to say somebody was cheating, and you know what I mean? It's a whole thing that's going.
It's going to be long and drawn out.
That's going to go on with that. You know what I mean? Just do what you've been doing. Live your life the way you've been doing it. You know what I mean? That's going to work itself out either way.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Whether we like it or don't like it, it's going to be what it's going to be. You know,
True.
The only thing that you can control is what you can control. Your house, your family, your job, your way of life. That's all you can control. Let's just stick with that. Let them do what they're going to do. And just pray that whoever it is that get there, do your fucking job. Just do your job. So we're gonna we done carried this out long enough for today.
Yes, sir.
You know, our next show will be the day after the
Right.
election. So of course we're gonna have something to talk about then, because you know
Oh, major.
Gonna be all kind of bullshit going on.
Oh my God.
Time. So we're gonna have plenty to talk about. But for real, guys, I mean, take heed to what we were saying today. Don't think that what you're talking about, what you're planning, what you want to do, what you're gonna do, what you say you want to do. I mean, watch that shit. Just watch it. Okay. Do what you need to do for your family. You know, take heed of some of the stuff that's been going on. Take heed of the stuff that they're listen to what they're telling you, but take heed to what they're not. That's what we've been finding here within the past year. It's not about what they're telling you. It's about what they're not telling you. And seems to be that's what we've been doing. Telling you what they're not telling you.
No kidding. That's what the Diamond Effect was made off of.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's the reason why YouTube hates us. They do everything humanly possible to try to kick the show off. I mean, they don't got enough to boot me, but they got enough to. I mean, they go in there and take away my views. And
well, they try to call you a Russian. You know what I mean? So
yeah, they called me Russian.
Like he actively lived in Russia. Like, stop the cap, yo.
Stop the cap.
That's crazy.
Even when I appealed it, they still came back and told me the same thing.
No way.
Yeah. They came
no
back
way.
Same thing. Yeah, some the same thing. But yeah, ain't nothing about me look Russian. I don't speak in Russia. I don't live in Russia. I ain't never been to Russia. So,
do you even drink? Do you drink vodka?
No.
Don't even drink vodka, man. No, you're
I'm
not real. You're not Russian if
you.
you're not drinking vodka and it's straight and obviously room temperature. You know.
Yeah. So, like I said, we have our own battle over here to keep pushing this information to you. Okay, so the ones that's watching, like, you realize that just us doing this right here, this is the easy part. What I do throughout the week to make sure we be able to do this at the end of the week, that's the whole job. Okay, and it's not easy. So so when we on here and we talking about the different stuff that we're doing, and we're putting this stuff out there, this information out there for you to get it and put it in your mind and use it for what you need to use it for. Remember the stuff that we actually doing to make sure you get this information, because it's not just something that we just pop up with at 7 o'clock and just do this show at 8. It's just not how it's set up. But thank everyone once again for coming out, watching. Like, follow, share, subscribe, send the link to your friends, let them check it out. I appreciate you each and every week for coming out, supporting us. And every week I'm gonna do my due diligence. We're gonna do our due diligence to make sure that we get this information out to you. So love y'all, and I'll see y'all in 7 days. Go ahead, Aaron.
All right. I say right now, it's important to stay informed on as much accurate information as you can and try to make the best, smartest decisions that you can make at this time. Now, if trouble breaks out next week, just remain calm and try to be able to properly assess your environment and the surroundings that you're in to make the best possible choice. Just know that right now, a possible storm is coming. And if it does, right now, you've got advance warning the storm is coming. What are you doing to be prepared? That's the question. And I'll stop there.
Well, with that being said, everybody, much love, honor, respect to everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Make sure you do us a favor on the way out. Hit that like button for the #1 metric of all of YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed on both of these channels, man. Go over to Archbishop's Diamond Effect channel as well as mine to hit that subscribe button. And we'll see you guys in 7 days. Much love. Stick around for the I'm sending you guys over from my channel over to Grid One Motorsports. Much love.
They're back.